Someone just dropped a bombshell into the whole quarterback debate, and the NFL is not prepared for this opinion. A seasoned pro finally stepped up and voiced what everyone in the league has been too scared to acknowledge. Shedeur Sanders isn't in pursuit of Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. He's already out in front of them. Do you believe Shedeur Sanders is truly on a different level than Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson? Could this be the wildest opinion the NFL community has ever encountered? Let us know your thoughts in the comments as we dive into what this expert revealed and why the football community is buzzing about Shedeur Sanders at this moment.
Our guy, too, you feel me?
Josh Allen is a very good quarterback. So is Lamar Jackson. Shedeur Sanders will become a very, very good quarterback because he's more cerebral. He doesn't have some of the athletic talent that Josh may have in terms of legs, and he doesn't have those kind of things that Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen may have. But he has other things that he relies on. And that in itself separates him from some of those. We say Patrick Mahomes can't really scramble.
College football, but when I go to the NFL and I'm looking for why do NFL players keep having positive things to say? Why is there so much, I guess, positive outlook? Remember, this is a 5th round draft pick. The Browns do not need to continue the Shedeur Sanders experience anymore if they don't want it. If he, at this point, was too much to handle, or if whatever, his play wasn't good, he'd be off the team because he's a 5th round pick.
Emmitt Smith just voiced what savvy football analysts have been pondering for years. This wasn't just another analyst seeking the spotlight or a commentator aiming for internet fame. This was a Hall of Famer, a guy who dedicated his whole career to analyzing what sets apart good players from those who are truly generational. He stared down the football world and declared, "Shedeur operates on a mental level that most quarterbacks in this league will never achieve. Not in the future, not maybe, but right this moment." Shedeur's ability to read a defense before the snap is impressive. He spots mismatches and attacks them with pinpoint accuracy. It's a talent that can't simply be taught. It's all about perspective. Either you get it or you don't. Josh Allen is a nightmare for defenses with his incredible mobility. Lamar Jackson has a way of making coordinators rethink their careers during the offseason. But those factors aren't what clinch championships in the 4th quarter of a frigid playoff battle when every defense is fully aware of your game plan. What clinches those moments is a quarterback who's consistently one step ahead. That's precisely the player Shedeur was destined to become. The Cleveland media really needs to take a step back and stay quiet because their handling of Shedeur has been one of the most cringe-worthy examples of bias in professional sports journalism we've ever seen. Then Shedeur strides in, cool and collected, showcasing pinpoint accuracy and a football IQ that leaves coaches in awe, instantly raising the bar for everyone around him. Out of nowhere, it's all about the stats. Out of nowhere, the focus shifts to his ability to scramble, and if he aligns with their narrow and convenient criteria for what constitutes a franchise quarterback. Emmitt Smith analyzes film in a way that sets him apart from everyone else. He examines the decision-making process. He focuses on precision. He analyzes if the quarterback is dictating the defense's movements or if he's being dominated by it. Every single time he has tuned in to watch Shedeur Sanders, the conclusion has been unmistakable. Shedeur takes charge. Shedeur takes charge. Shedeur absolutely owns the mental aspect of the game, and no amount of Cleveland media chatter can change what's clearly visible on the tape for anyone willing to take an honest look. Patrick Mahomes doesn't have the same scrambling ability as a running back, and somehow he always manages to escape, consistently finds the perfect throw, and pulls off those unbelievable plays that no one else on earth could even dream of making. That's what separates the elite quarterbacks. They know how to maximize their resources. Shedeur Sanders is definitely in that same league. While he might not be breaking off those explosive 60-yard runs, his ability to navigate through his progressions is lightning quick. By the time a pass rusher closes in, the ball has already been released, and the receiver is already on the move upfield. That's not a weakness at all. That's the pinnacle of quarterback play right there. Emmitt Smith has seen Shedeur grow from a kid running high school offenses to dominating college defenses at Jackson State. And now, he's taking on a whole new level of competition at Colorado. That's definitely not a small sample size. That's 10 years of solid proof leading to an irrefutable conclusion. The critics really started to make noise when Shedeur declared for the draft. The Cleveland circus attempted to downplay him, But Smith showed the whole football world that some players are simply constructed differently from the ground up. Shedeur is stepping into the NFL, not just to compete. He's coming in to take charge. As soon as you begin to take every boisterous sports opinion as truth, you've totally missed the mark. These media figures aren't huddled up in film rooms, dissecting route trees and defensive schemes. They're huddled behind their microphones, aiming to drop something so outrageous that viewers won't dare switch the channel.
Well, he finds a way to scramble.
Yeah.
Shedeur finds a way to scramble. But his arm talent and his accuracy may be different. It's not Deion bias. It's that I've seen the kid develop since he was a baby. Watching what he did through high school, watching what he was able to do at Jackson State, watching what he was able to do at Colorado. And when I look at, I don't look at the game like most people look at the game. I look at the decision-making of the quarterback. You want your franchise player to be that guy. How is he finding the man-to-man matchup? Then let's go to the skill set. Is he accurate with the passes? And is there enough velocity on the ball to get it there? And how is he dictating to the defense, or is the defense dictating to him?
Being wrong didn't cost them a thing. They'll return tomorrow with yet another perspective, a fresh angle, and a narrative designed to stir up controversy and drive views. Their whole business strategy revolves around that. Emmitt Smith exists in a realm that's entirely separate from those individuals. This is a guy who crafted a Hall of Fame legacy by grasping the game of football at a depth that few ever achieve. He's not in it for the viral fame or the cash flow from ads. No one is slipping notes under Emmitt Smith's door to get on camera and hype up a rookie quarterback. That concept is downright ridiculous. When someone of that caliber, with extensive football knowledge and significant financial success, expresses that he sees something unique in Shedeur, it's not just a statement crafted for attention. That's a belief forged from years of experiencing the game up close. It carries a significance that far surpasses anything produced in a Cleveland radio studio. The reality of this situation is a total nightmare for the critics, as the numbers they're overlooking reveal a narrative that speaks volumes compared to the selective points they've decided to emphasize. Shedeur ranks among the elite rookies in the league when it comes to completion percentage. That stat right there should be silencing critics and putting an end to any arguments. The media machine that chose to go negative on Shedeur from the start is conveniently ignoring that number because it completely undermines the narrative they've been building for months. They want to focus on the defeats. They're eager to discuss a rebuilding roster surrounding him and act like those struggles are solely the quarterback's fault. What they fail to recognize is that a rookie performing with that level of accuracy on that team in that environment is not actually struggling. He's playing at a level that even seasoned veterans on stable teams would struggle to reach. The negativity has been so organized and so unyielding that the positive narrative right there in the data has nearly been overshadowed entirely. That's not what journalism is all about. That's just an agenda dressed up as journalism. When you dive into the actual game, looking at the throws, the reads, and the decisions made in real time against tough NFL defenses, the argument for Shedeur becomes crystal clear. Identifying man-to-man coverage in a defense designed to mask it is one of the toughest challenges a quarterback faces at this level. Shedeur keeps delivering time and time again. That throw against Tennessee was something special. He dropped the ball perfectly over the top on a wheel route, showcasing a level of touch and placement that you just can't learn in any film session. So, about that Jerry Jeudy target. Before anyone tries to use it against him, let's be clear. The ball was delivered flawlessly.
Here is Todd Monken talking about the quarterbacks, and I agree with you on Shedeur Sanders. I think the moment they made a big deal of him changing his number from 12 back to 2, I think, you don't hype that up for a guy who, who is likely to be your backup.
Exactly.
You do that for the guy who's likely to be your starter. Here is Todd.
So, I made this point in another video. I think it was a few days ago when we found out that Dillon Gabriel and Deshaun Watson had in fact shown up to camp, but it was, and we made multiple videos that day, and now I even came on stream and I said, hey, Dillon Gabriel actually is there, Deshaun Watson is there. But for the most of the day, they wouldn't even post Deshaun Watson. They wouldn't even post Dillon Gabriel, right? They're posting Shedeur Sanders. They were posting Shedeur Sanders gifts. They made a special little draft thing about how much perseverance Shedeur Sanders has done. They're making big official things about him changing his number. They want Shedeur to be QB. If somebody in the Browns organization wants them, no matter how good he is for clicks, I'm telling you.
The back shoulder placement was meant to safeguard the receiver, and the events that unfolded after the catch were unrelated to Shedeur's throw. Isaiah Bond was on fire, exploiting those interior seams and post routes. Shedeur kept feeding him the ball, recognizing the leverage, trusting his instincts, and delivering perfectly on every single possession. That's not just luck, and it's definitely not some system doing the heavy lifting for him. That's a quarterback who reads the game quicker than the defense can throw off their schemes. The execution displayed by a rookie in his inaugural NFL season is exactly the kind of foundation that teams hope to discover for years on end. The Browns organization clearly wants him, regardless of how much attention he draws. Trust me, teams don't invest their marketing efforts in players they intend to bench. That's not the way professional sports teams function. Anyone who's taken just a few minutes to grasp how NFL teams craft their public persona gets this without a doubt. The Cleveland Browns put on a big show for Shedeur Sanders as he switched his jersey number back to 2. That choice definitely wasn't made by some intern managing a social media profile. That message originated from the upper echelons of the organization, who clearly grasped the impact it would have on both the fan base and the broader football community. Teams don't put together slick content, don't weave emotional stories about resilience, and don't compile highlight reels for a player they view as just a backup on the sidelines. Every piece of content they released about Shedeur was a clear message. Only those who had their minds set before he even threw a single pass in a Browns uniform are ignoring that signal. Consider what was truly going on during that camp period and reflect on why the perspective seems so skewed. Deshaun Watson showed up. Dylan Gabriel made an appearance. 2 quarterbacks are on site at the same facility. The Browns organization was all about Shedeur Sanders, sharing posts about him, showcasing Shedeur Sanders' gifts, and celebrating his number change ceremonies. No well-crafted posts discussing the other quarterbacks on that roster while all this was happening out in the open. That's no accident, and it's definitely not a coincidence. That's a team subtly signaling to its fans who the starting quarterback will be, all without a big official reveal. Cleveland was clearly strategic with every post, graphic, and piece of content associated with Shedeur's name. When a team puts that level of focus and storytelling into one particular player, you can bet it's not just for kicks. They're making this move because that player is key to their future plans. That reality has to be incredibly tough for all those who spent months claiming Shedeur Sanders would never get a genuine opportunity in that city. Todd McShett called it out clearly, and he nailed it. Creating that level of public excitement around a backup quarterback just doesn't happen. The change in number would have been just a small detail if the Browns didn't view Shedeur as their top choice for the position. Instead, they transformed it into a full-blown production. They framed his journey with the theme of perseverance, crafting a narrative that resonated emotionally with the fan base even before he stepped onto the field for a regular season game. That's the kind of talk that builds a franchise. That's the type of narrative teams employ when gearing up their fans for a lasting bond with a player, rather than a short-term fix while they bide time for someone else to recover. The Browns organization, despite the chatter from outside and the Cleveland media frenzy, was conveying a totally different narrative through its official channels. From the start, Shedeur was right in the thick of that story. When a locker room rallies behind someone, that vibe quickly becomes impossible to ignore.
I'm feeling like, give him a chance. If it doesn't look like what it is, you still have Deshaun Watson on your team. Shedeur, he ended the season as a starter. He's grinding. He's in the building all the time. I would start off with Shedeur at 1,000%. He's leading off. He's the team. I think the locker room loves Shedeur too. It's like the vibes. You see what's going on. Nobody. He's doing all the right things. He's not doing nothing but for the team to be like, no, we're not. No, everything that I see, Myles Garrett, we love Shedeur. Top dudes are talking about that. He's motivated. He thinks that he can be the starting quarterback. I think he can be the starting quarterback. We're going to see on the field. I don't think he's going to get beat out during training camp.
Every single signal emerging from Cleveland is pointing in one clear direction. Shedeur hasn't just made an appearance at that facility. He has integrated himself into the fabric of that building in a manner that typically takes veterans years to achieve. He wrapped up the last season as the starter, not as a project or an experiment, but as the player the coaching staff had faith in with the football when the games were on the line. Rather than kicking back on a beach somewhere during the offseason to celebrate that, he chose to stick around the facility. He just kept pushing through. He continued to grind while everyone else in the football community was busy arguing about his right to be in the spotlight. What else can you possibly expect from a young quarterback looking to establish himself in one of the most intense environments in the whole NFL? Right now, Shedeur Sanders is hitting all the right notes, and those around him are taking notice every single day. Myles Garrett isn't the type to hand out compliments lightly. This player is widely regarded as one of the most respected and feared in the world of professional football. A figure whose influence resonates powerfully within that locker room. He's not shy about expressing his confidence in Shedeur Sanders. When your top defensive player is openly supporting your young quarterback, it speaks volumes about the kind of influence and leadership at play. Shedeur has established himself within those walls. The elite players in Cleveland aren't merely putting up with him or maintaining a cordial relationship. They are truly pumped up by him. That level of genuine locker room camaraderie is what teams spend years trying to cultivate. Is it possible to create that level of respect through marketing strategies and press events? No way. That kind of energy is only present when a player truly earns it through his everyday actions, his preparation, his mindset, and his sincere dedication to those around him. Shedeur has undoubtedly earned every bit of it. The notion that Shedeur might lose his starting spot during training camp is one of the most far-fetched stories that the skeptics are still holding on to at this point. Deshaun Watson is definitely on the table as a choice. All right, I get it, but the vibe, the team spirit, and the locker room dynamics are all signaling that Shedeur is set to take the reins when that first regular season snap goes down. He comes into this season with valuable starting experience, having wrapped up last year as the team's quarterback of record. The players who truly count in that organization already hold him in high regard. He possesses a work ethic that coaching staffs can rally an entire culture around. Training camp won't change any of that. This is just going to strengthen a case that's already packed with solid evidence. The Browns currently have a true franchise quarterback in their locker room. Once this team embraces that reality wholeheartedly, without any doubts or second thoughts, the transformation for the organization will be nothing short of monumental. Shedeur Sanders was never the doubt the media portrayed him as. He was the solution that Cleveland had been searching for. The locker room is aware of it. The organization is fully aware of it. The whole football community has no choice but to come to terms with it now. If this breakdown blew your mind, make sure to subscribe and give that like button a good smash, because we're just getting warmed up on revealing every single take they missed about Shedeur Sanders.